how to embody your wealthiest, even healthiest self, with my guest here, Dr. Tanya Kindel, who is a clinical psychologist. I'm Marta Saray Greca. I am your host at Awful Okay Awesome, which is the show about stories of trials and tribulations that turn into passion and purpose. And who I am is a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I have a financial strategy business, and also I am a marketing strategist, which I'd love to announce that I formerly was doing it through my own business and company, Whole Truth Communications. Well, really, it's Pop Invasion 10 years ago, then rebranded Media Creative Agency. Then Whole Truth Communications, and now I am merging and have been absorbed by my brother's phenomenal company, Mission Sierra Media. It's been a journey. If he's listening, he's a genius. I am blown away at the results that his marketing strategies get clients that I knew I just had to be a part of it. I mean, I'm seeing clients who receive upwards of hundreds of leads in the span of a few months, and those leads actually I've seen them convert to 100K of revenue for some of these clients. Some of them, you're getting a lead a day. So it's not like you hear hundreds of leads that might feel overwhelming, but really it's about 1 or 2 leads a day that actually convert. They're qualified. And the clients have also been saying that, during this, it would be a slow time right now. And now they actually need to figure out how to keep up with production, which is a good problem to have. So that is why I have chosen to be absorbed by my brother's company, and slowly merging my own clients over there as well, which they're all excited about. We are here at Discovery Christian Church, and I promise she will talk soon at Discovery Christian Church. They're our gracious hosts to produce the show. I love this space. I actually love this church. We attend weekly with our family. It speaks volumes that I was out of town this past weekend, and my husband still came with all of our children without me. That speaks volumes when typically, statistically, it's the women that take the children to church, and for a church to actually grasp the attention of the male population as well, that they feel so connected that they still want to come when their wives don't make them, is amazing. As much as I use this space, you're welcome to book a space at Discovery Church as well for your own events, conferences, productions. Book a room and just sit by yourself. Who cares, right? They don't care, but
it's nice and cool.
It's nice and cool, yeah. And so I digress, as per usual. This episode is how to embody your wealthiest self, and how systematic traumas that you may not even realize exist could be affecting your life in not a fun way, not a fun way at all. But before we get into that, keep listening. I want you to tell me, what's your story and why are you passionate about what you're passionate about?
Well, my story has constantly been changing. I feel like that's something we tell ourselves. Our stories become our identity, and if we can become a part of the story instead of being attached to the story, we can often shift and change a lot. So the story right now that I'm working with, that I'm really kind of using and pulling for what I am creating in passion goes back to early childhood. I grew up in a very loving family, but they were very attached to a evangelical church, where the essence of witnessing and going out and making sure that everyone heard and was saved and wasn't going to hell was
it's a lot of pressure to put on a human,
on a child.
Yeah, on a child.
Yeah. Like, right, this was the structure of, that Christianity was it, that there was that was the only way to heaven, and everybody had to go through these behaviors and these processes in order to.
Which, by the way, we did joke about this.
Yeah, this is a church.
We're hosted by a church, and also we joked about it because I had my own trauma dump about my experience with the church and what led me to Discovery Church. And what I do love about Discovery Church is that just a few weeks ago, one the recurring theme is that we're not here to judge, we're not here to force anybody, we're here to meet people where they are and act normal is what was what in one of the sermons here. I mean, maybe a month ago. Just act normal. Just be a normal, kind, loving person. So if you're wondering there's some irony here. That's often how a lot of people do find discoveries because they've had experience. You don't go to Discovery, but I'm just saying that's typically
yes, in terms of
story.
Being able to have a space that holds for that exploration is my whole purpose. In that, because when you're little and you're put with this pressure that this is your job on earth, and this is what you have to do, and it's a fear-based system. It's a fear-based system, and it is meant with the greatest intentions, right? That everybody is saved and goes to heaven and knows they're loved and all this stuff, but it is a fear-based intention. And my first reaction to that when I was little was anxiety. It wasn't love. It was anxiety.
What was the anxiety behind it?
It was, well, like, number one, I knew I was loved by my parents. So I had experienced love. So I knew the feeling of neurologically, you have to have that basis of experience. So I was loved by my family. I was loved by my parents. And then, saying, okay, but now you have a job to do. Like, now you have this pressure to perform. And your behavior is going to be judged, right? It made me feel like I'm constantly my value, like I just don't have value to exist. I'm born with this job, like, and
your value is that job.
Is that job is performance.
You're gonna have,
it's performance value, or or your behavior, how you're looked at, and it just created such anxiety around even just social interactions and things like when you go. And I was sent to church camp, and I had some just very anxious resistance to it. Everybody else is having fun. Everybody else is doing great. They're just loving it. They love playing flag football and singing in the choir and doing all this stuff. And I just didn't like it. I was like, I don't belong here. Like, I don't like it. I want to go home. I would write come get me, please come get me. I have a sore throat. She's like, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is torture. It was actual torture. And the one incident that really kind of made me step back is about a few days into it. I was there with one of my friends, and she was just one of my friends, and she didn't belong to our church. She had belonged to another church, but this was a kind of just an eclectic church camp. And she was standing in our cabin, and it's big cabin full of like 20 bunk beds or something, and a group of girls had surrounded her and basically said, and I had to be like 10 or 8 or something in that range.
Yeah.
Basically had surrounded her and said that if she didn't accept Jesus that week, she was going to hell.
I mean, does that sound like Jesus?
No.
If somebody's listening.
But
that doesn't sound like something Jesus would say.
No. But when you're that young, like,
well,
it's that idea of, those girls weren't doing it out of bullying. They weren't. They were doing it out of fear. That was their job, to make sure that she, by the end of that week, had the spiritual awakening.
And that's not love-based.
No.
That's fear-based.
It's fear-based.
That's like the devil being like, oh, let me play with that.
Yeah, or that ego sense coming out. Like, you have a job and you're not doing it, right? Like, you're going to get judged.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her face, and I was standing back from the group, and I remember this so clearly that I was like, whoa, something is wrong here. Something is off. And from that point on, I became a pain in the butt for a lot of people in the church, and also just a very detailed observer. And I was not a part of it anymore. I was outside of the system, kind of looking in. And asking questions, and you're not allowed to ask a lot of questions that don't have answers often, the answer was just because, or, because the Bible says so. And that wasn't enough for me. So I began to explore mythology, astrology, a lot of different history, anthropology, a lot of different things that just were saying different things that I tried to understand. So really became an observer and tapping into what else was out there, what was going on, because this was for me just a visceral reaction to saying I kind of needed to step back from this system.
Right.
And so I began that process for a long time of just learning and observing and trying to figure those things out. And the education system, another system that was not helpful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So once again, it becomes a system where we're performance based, right? Achievement.
Yep.
What is your value? What is your talent? If you don't have a talent, if you don't have a value, if you don't have something that can transform into money. Right? So this is where another trauma.
Yeah.
Right? Judgment, performance, what is your value?
Yeah. If you can't focus, if you can't,
correct.
Then
if you don't fit
dumb.
in, right?
You're less than.
You're not going to make money. You're not going to survive.
Yeah. You're not going to be successful.
Right?
You're going to be a loser. Yeah.
You're going to be dependent on your parents, which was my dad's biggest fear. Like, oh my God. Every Christmas, he's like, thank you, Jesus, for my kids being financially independent. Like, that is how he starts his prayer.
well, that says a lot, actually.
Yes, right.
Right. But no, yeah, I have like a vivid memory of a guidance counselor telling a close friend, yeah, but Marta has to go to cosmetology school because that's all she can do.
Right.
She can't do anything else.
Right.
Like, she can't be successful. She can't perform in a regular school. So that's what she has to do. And it's like, I didn't even wear makeup like that much. Like, I cake it on sometimes.
Right?
But most of the time it was like a bun and like, I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah.
But yeah, it's that education system, which is another product of a systematic thing that doesn't fit everybody, right? It didn't make me feel empowered. It didn't. It made me feel less than because I wasn't really interested in academics. I loved learning in sense of reading the Grimm fairy tales or mythology or understanding science in the basis of how trees work or that was interesting. But the performance aspect of it was you had to master this academic realm.
Everything in all areas, all of it. Absorb it all and become an expert at all of it.
And find your talent, your value, your category, because that's where you're going to go and make money.
I mean, they get rewards for perfect attendance, right? They get to stand on a stage because they got the best grades out of anybody, and on top of it, they signed up for every activity, and also they got into the best schools, and that's who celebrated, and it's like, that's amazing, that's awesome for you. And there's other ways to be a whole person who's successful.
Correct.
Like, to the example of the cosmetology school is like, I know actually a lot of like really successful cosmetologists
because they love what they do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You're not taught to go after what you love. You're not really taught to. Their fear is that you will not financially be able to support yourself.
And that's all that's important.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
That's the definition of success. Yeah.
Right?
So that is the systematic trauma that I think we all live through.
A lot of artists.
Yeah.
And for some people it works great. There's a very, small part of that population, but it does work great. They like the grit, they like the structure, they like the challenge, the performance. And if you try to take them away from it and be like, hey, let's just go
they're not interested.
Do a drum circle. They're like, what
I mean,
what the hell are you talking about?
To a good example, that's exactly my brother who runs Mission Sierra Media. He is military. He joined the military when he was 17. He's military. He's got a system. He processes my job that I'm doing for him. Like, it comes with a 50-page manual with videos and directions and screen grabs. And like, I have to study that and understand it because he's created this beautiful monster that is like, because he is that person.
Yeah.
I You couldn't pay
No.
me enough money,
right?
to
Exactly.
create that.
You
know?
couldn't pay you enough money. That is exactly the point.
To create that. Obviously,
Right?
you know, that's how we find so much success for our
Yes.
clients. Yeah.
And it's a partnership, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
having that balance to a
Yes.
system.
Right.
And the educational system doesn't create that balance. It doesn't
Right.
create pods. It doesn't create tracks. I know they're trying to. There's some schools, you know, more affluent schools, unfortunately, right now still, that try to create different tracks and pods and help people. And so, and obviously homeschooling systems and stuff like that.
I
are more
haven't, by the
geared
way,
to
had that experience with
Yeah.
private schools that are affluent schools. They
Yeah.
still are trying to create
Yeah.
the robots,
Well,
unfortunately.
Yeah, and
But
I
I
hear
understand.
I hear it
Yes,
from
yes,
some of like
but
putting
yeah.
more money into theater programs,
Yes,
doing
yes,
things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
There is some awareness of it, but it still is a system based on trying to get you a job, not trying to really
Right.
help you understand what you love
Right.
and what you're here to create or
Right.
what you're here to experience.
Like, you need your diploma, you need
Yes.
your
Like if you
degree,
don't learn
you need-
this or you don't
Yeah.
learn that. And you know, I'm a product of that too, because when I had my daughter, you know, we tried, she just didn't attach to the academia. She just didn't. Like, it's not anything she's interested. It can't focus. And we tried all sorts of things, Montessori school, private schools, and we ended up back
Yeah.
in public because it wasn't about the school.
Yeah.
It's about her trying to
Right.
figure out
Exactly
what-
right. Yes.
what she like, that giving that freedom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I've got 7 kids. 2 of them choose to go to public school. They want to go to public school. They like it, and so I'm like, okay,
and I probably wouldn't have made that choice if
Yeah.
had I, you
Yeah.
know, I might have been doing something different. It wasn't available.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. And we're talking like most of our population probably grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and it was a very different time in terms of the shift of women into the workforce, of families moving, becoming more transient, right? So one of the other systems, so we have often the religious system, we have the the capitalistic system, the education system. One of the other systems in that is when women went from a village to isolation. And this was historically more from the 30s and the 40s into like the 50s and the 60s, where women were now pitted against each other. So it wasn't a village anymore.
Yeah.
It was now your home, your family is your tribe, and that's what you have to protect. It wasn't a village or a town or a community system. It was very much isolation. And in that shifted a lot of pressure onto women to have it all, right?
Yes, it's like it went from an empowering thing to a pressure.
Correct.
Of like, now you've got to perform, now you've got to be successful in the workforce and at home. And I mean, it feels very personal for me because it's something that I buy into every day, you know, and every day I have to remind myself, what is God truly calling you to do in this moment when you feel pulled in all these directions, you know?
And pressure. That is a natural, like we feel pressure to do things. And when you start to feel that pressure, that is a place where you can really kind of tap into that awareness of it, because that is not what we're meant to do. We're not meant to be pressured into performance. And if you love something, there is a challenge with it, but there shouldn't be stress, right? So it's that essence of where the system, where you're getting that pressure from the system, and where you might be absorbing it and running it through your personal systems. Well, there's something wrong with me. I don't have enough certification, or I don't have, enough energy. I hear, I just don't have enough energy. I just don't have enough time. I just don't have enough this, right? It's because the pressure kind of is
I hear that all the
depleting.
time. I don't have enough time,
Right?
which is such a myth,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it is.
That I believe myself to Ailey as well. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Remember, everything that's meant to get done will get done.
Yeah.
And if it all falls apart, it's meant to fall apart as long as
It's
you're
not meant to be there.
As long
Yeah.
as you're putting your best self forward, you know?
And it's coming from that heart space, and
Yeah.
you're trying to move forward. And this runs right into the other system, the mental health system, where it's very much based on diagnosing the individual as not fitting into the system.
Yeah.
And so much of my clients in the past couple years have, have come out of a system of they were isolated, they didn't fit into their family, they didn't fit into school, they didn't fit into, certain workplaces, and it's just that system repeating itself is I don't belong here, I don't fit in, I don't have purpose, I'm not loved, nobody gives me attention, and they're not getting attention because they're not in the system that's created to give attention to value, to attention to like performance, right? And this is, look at it, we're watching the World Cup and we're giving all this attention to performance, and this is where we can get lost, and we can celebrate it, but it takes up a ton of attention, and we're not often attending to ourselves or our local communities or things like that. So our attention now is so vast, right? Because we have so much access to the internet, where you can get your pressure, your peace, everything you can trigger by something happening thousands of miles away. And it's not, and you're going through all of the emotions as this is right next to you. And that can be very draining, and that can be, because we're so vast, we're isolated in our families, but we have this attention span of the entire world.
So all of this led you to wanting to help others understand that and have greater peace within themselves, right?
Yes. All of this led to me constantly learning, right? The helping others came as an aspect of me just sort of talking like this and really kind of sharing my what I've learned, my perspectives. I did not get into psychology to help people. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's going to be I had no intention of, I was not a nurse.
I love hearing that simply because it's simply because that's typically what everybody says, right? Oh, I do this to help people.
I actually wrote it. So I went in with my original dissertation. I studied a lot of Catholic and pedophilia cases. Oh, wow. I studied forensics, criminal psychology, profiling, serial killing, and then oftentimes severe mental illness and things.
So it was just fascinating.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating because I had to understand. I tried being an artist, like an actual physical artist, and because of my fear of it not relating into finances, I actually shifted out of that into just interest, just really being interested in why people do the things they do, like the behaviors. And because of this experience when I was younger and having that step back out of a system, I've always been an observer. I've never been someone who's able to drink the Kool-Aid. Never. I'll get into something and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is it. This is great. At least it's going to be what changes the world. And then I'll be like, oh, okay. Every time. Right? You get, it's almost like the illusion is, the veil's lifted when you're observing, when you're really kind of looking at it from that perspective.
For sure.
So I've never been someone who's like, oh my gosh, this supplement's the one that's going to change the world, or this doctor's going to, or this guru, or
we all have our ups and downs, or the positives and the negatives, and you just take everything for what you're meant to be connected with it, and then leave the rest. And we don't judge the rest. We just say, oh, okay, this is what this is. And so it's a really good, I think, that's what allows you to create and make the world a better place from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I think that's what sometimes people are looking for, that one thing that's going to cure. Yes. That one thing that's going to, it has to be a religion, or it has to be a certification, or a method, or a group.
And doing that disempowers yourself from understanding that you are fully capable of embodying everything that you need. And obviously my belief is it all comes from God. And that's really, it's, we were talking before we hit record, or live rather, that we have this belief that we're constantly looking for a source, right? Yes. You said a job, a husband,
something external, something external.
It is internal, and for me, in my belief, I don't have to worry about where it's going to come from. I know that God's going to provide for me, and I know that I just have to take aligned steps forward to what is meant for me, whatever His passion and purpose.
That's awesome. So I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
That what you're describing is trust.
Right.
Right. What does that feel like?
I mean, it feels peaceful. It feels amazing.
Give me the sense that, like, what are you, when you experience trust, that feeling, what do you feel in your body? Like, what sensations do you get?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, I typically operate from a place of having this like knot in my throat, right? And so often it's like my shoulders get to drop, there's a little bit of warmth in my belly, there's less pressure in my back, and then the knot just alleviates. But typically it takes a substantial amount of me tapping and recalibrating. Okay, well that didn't do the trick. So why don't let me just try to let the feeling exist. Give it, maybe needs some more room, and maybe that feeling just needs to exist for a little bit, So it's a process. I don't know. That's a great question.
Yes, but that is a sensory experience, right? So your body is being able to sort of calibrate around, I know what this trust feeling is. I know what the sensory, I'm just leaning into it. I'm just like, it's a sensory experience within yourself of trust.
Yeah.
Right? Not everybody has that. So when you tell that, if you've never experienced it before, if you don't know what it is, if you can't really internally know what you're experiencing, it could feel completely foreign. Like it could feel like, well, I don't know what you're describing, what that drop down is, so neurologically over time, whether it's because you've done the practices or things, you've built that avenue to tap into your experience of trust, to that feeling, that sensation. And it can be a multitude of chemicals that happen, right? But we know that it's more of a spiritual. Once you feel it, you can feel that and recreate it again and again and again. And as you go through challenges, you adapt to that. So that experience becomes something that you trust in that experience then. So you grow with it, you adapt, you build on it. So it's your foundation that you're building upon. But if those foundation pieces aren't there, right? What are we, what are people actively building on?
And would you say that is something that you help others?
Yes, that is what that is my goal, is to try and help. The word help seems so disempowering. Guide really into looking in a different direction, like, because we're looking externally, and how
we're constantly looking externally,
internally. How, because what I've seen over the past, another system coming up is the healing system is becoming a vendor table.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I
want all of it, by the way.
Oh, yes. I want to consume all of it.
It's like, right? I don't care. I still want it.
I know. But I want it but you have a foundation, right? You have a foundation because of the work that you've done, because of including you've had, a supportive family, you've gone through, the challenges and seen the experiences that come out of those challenges. But when you don't have those neurological foundations, right? So if you've been systematically traumatized, and remember, your family's a system. So I want you to remember that too. Your family is not.
I like how we're like, it's all a system.
It's just so you know. Yes, family is also a system, because you will create that in your job. You will create that in everything. So,
and also it's like something for us to be aware of as mothers, because it's like, I'm trying not to be a system. I'm trying to lovingly guide you and do what I'm called to do as your mother, and also not apply false pressures about false truths about what I want for you and what I think is important, and like drill it into you.
And also brush your teeth.
Yeah,
like, seriously. Brush your teeth.
And so, like,
because your body's also a system.
And and I'll talk a lot about entrepreneurial women. Do what you desire. Do what you feel called to do. Do what's alignment for you. And then obviously I have my 17-year-old daughter who hates doing dishes, and so my husband's like, but she's got to do them, and I'm like, but does she? Maybe one of our other children who hates doing dishes less, they could just be the dishwasher, and she could. I mean, she's amazing with the babies and the kids and the pets. So it's like, she's my go-to. She's for that, because she doesn't mind. She'll do it.
Yeah.
But and then there's my 18-year-old son who loves his baby siblings, but he's like what his thing is like, oh, I'll happily run this errand for you or drive this child this place, so it's like, so we have to remember that that's something for our kids too,
Yes.
finding
and you've
what
literally
their zone
created
of...
a tribe. So you have a little bit more like
And
flexibility.
Marcel is great at dishes.
Yeah.
He's 9 years old. He's great at dishes. He'll do
Aw.
the dishes. He's happy with the dishes, so
Yeah.
so it's like remembering that, like, even our children, and we can be systems for our children. We were talking about, like, the call of motherhood, and how it's hard to like talk about, we do what you desire and what you want to do, whereas when we're moms, often every single day we have to do things we don't feel like doing.
Yeah, it's not
like,
fun. It's not always fun.
Yeah, like but I have gotten to a place where I'm like, I think I've done this long enough. I don't think I'm gonna touch another Cheerio on the ground ever again.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's what my decision is.
I said, like, one day it's gonna come a point where I'm not touching food.
And marriage is a system too,
Oh,
right?
yes,
Because
marriage
then
is
you
a
have-
system.
Because then you have all this other person who
with
has these
expectations.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And you're like,
Yes.
and I do read the Bible, and I do, feel called to take it as the Bible. And so, the Bible calls women to be submissive, but it also calls husbands to be protectors. So there's that argument of like, well, like in my marriage, my husband loves cleanliness, loves organization, loves systems, loves, and I'm like, I don't want to pick up another Cheerio in my life. I don't want to do one more dish.
Yeah.
I'm done doing the laundry.
Yeah.
So then it's finding that, like, if that is something that makes me feel stressed out because of all the other things, and he's meant to be my protector and I'm meant to be submissive, that's where that comes into the beauty of, like, where do we find that middle ground of protecting my peace and also protecting your peace? Because so
Yes.
but remembering that, again, that marriage can be a system and expectations, and everything's figure outable. There can be a middle ground for all of it.
It has to be communication, adaptation. You are not the same person every single year. So if you don't constantly like touch base, communicate, like, my needs change, and I'm really at core just an artist, so I'm constantly changing. Like, one day I'm like, let's do this. Next day I'm like, and my husband just has to, like, allow me that space.
And mine's learned that as well. Yeah.
But I'm from a different perspective when it comes to the submissive, and it's because of that word. Because that word
is problematic.
It is.
But it's meant to be it's meant to be the idea that, like, it is actually harder for me as a wife to, like, just do whatever the hell I want whenever the hell I want. I have to remember that I have this other person, right?
Responsibility.
Yes. That I have this other person that I love, and I want him to be happy as much as I want to be happy. And therefore, I have to find the middle ground. I can't just say, well, you want that? You can go. You can go screw yourself.
That is. Well, that's more selfish and submissive, or a little bit.
Exactly. So what would be a good word?
So from what I've studied, and I've studied both the Bible, in its original Hebrew as well. That's one of my teachers in college. He spoke in he was very into explaining, like, the translation things that come through.
And we study that here at Discovery and Bible Study, by the way. And we'll come up with that word, and we'll go to the Greek. Okay, so what is the Hebrew
Greek,
translation?
Right, and then kind of understanding. So when it comes to that partnership of the feminine and the masculine, the masculine is sort of the challenger, the penetrator, like they're the movement. They are meant to, technically, you could use the word serve.
Okay.
The feminine.
Okay.
Because the feminine is the womb of creation. So when I don't like to use service. All these words in our English just have such negative energy attached to them. But when the masculine is truly serving the family, the feminine, the creation, the community, the village, right? The kingdom, then the creation can flourish. So women can have that chance to create, to build, right?
Yeah.
And to nurture, to be able to provide. So communities are created by women. and they are in the essence of, you know, if the challenge, if the plowing, if you will, you know, is happening, the harvest is brought in and the women create, right? So whatever that can mean, it's not in terms of women should just be in the house or things like that.
Right.
It's that the essence of the energy being there for creation, of there being more than enough energy to create. Right. Whether that's coming from the balance of your masculine and your feminine, or in that marriage in itself, as there's a teamwork of ebb and flow. It's not 50-50 because there's no gap. It's kind of like constantly moving in that direction. So, you know, when it came to the word submissive, that was one of the things when I was in church when I was young, and they're like, oh yeah, this should happen. I was really like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, you're saying, like, I'm less than. Like, that's where that
and
came
that's
at.
absolutely not what that means.
And it's not. And in the original, it's not meant to be that, you know. Just like sensitivity is a beautiful thing, to be extra sensory, to be sensitive, to be able to pull in senses, became a negative connotation. Well, you're too sensitive.
Yeah.
Right? We've taken these words that were meant to be like the essence of just explaining a situation and made them have these very negative connotations to it. So I think that's something to become aware of too. What kind of words will often trigger us to but self-awareness is really kind of like is trying to build those foundations of what experiences people need to have, because like I said, healing is becoming a vendor table, and if you are externally searching, you're going to go from one vendor table to another,
right,
and
be frustrated,
because,
and then blame the healer,
right, and then say, well, that didn't work, or that person betrayed me, or you know, or
and it's the same in the marketing world, by the way.
And that's a system.
It's like a business wants to thrive, and so it's constantly looking for another marketing strategist, and often where the leading factor, or I'm sorry, the common factor is that person is unable to take that ownership over their own place and part in the thrive, and they're just assigning it to this agency and this agency and this agency and this agency. So pivoting a little bit here, you and I are working on an anthology together. You're one of the authors, and the theme of the book is embodying your wealthiest self. I think we're going to call it Completely Wealthy. I think that's going to be the title that we're landing on. So you're going to have a chapter, and I was like really championing for you to be a part of this book. And finally we did it.
I'm going to call it a little bit of pressure.
Oh,
no, but I had to recognize it. So it's, you know, that's,
I
think we have to really become aware of that.
And it honestly just came from a place of like, you're a missing piece. We need your voice in this book. And it totally, that was like the truth, the divine truth. And so what is your chapter going to be about?
Well, I think it's understanding these systems and really having people, instead of trying to constantly heal themselves from a place of externally consuming, really trying to become most interested in themselves, in the awareness. So understanding what systems, because your genetic history, your lineage is also a system. So if you don't know like where your, you know, things are coming from, where triggers are coming from, where things like that, we could spend hours trying to find the why. It could be from like the 5th generation great grandmother, right, who had an abuse history or something. Like it can be a rabbit hole. So really kind of trying to understand all these systems have an impact, but it's your current present biological, neurological, sensory system that we need to kind of build the foundation in. And it's not going to be about consuming. It's not going to be about going out and getting that supplement, or going out and getting that Reiki, or going out and getting that sound bath. Those are all amazing experiences, and I want people to have those from a place of the foundation that they already have everything to build from. So, you know, we have nature, we can have really amazing experiences just being with ourselves and understanding these things, and then understanding what that feeling is. So just like that exercise, like, well, what is trust to you? Because if you don't know what trust feels like, we could talk about it all the time.
Right.
You're only going to have negative experiences around it and say, well, I can't trust because.
Yeah. And then you like have the guilt of like, oh no, I'm not trusting.
Right.
You know, it's oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it becomes this cognitive
Yeah.
mental overload.
For sure.
So really understanding, looking at the systems, bring awareness to this. Like, it's, you know, when people say it's not you, like, it probably isn't, right? It's not all that. Like, there's not a specific diagnosis or disorder that's going to change your world. It's going to be really about kind of going into your inner world and rebuilding that foundation.
And by the way, you know, that's kind of what my chapter is going to be about, and what I pride myself of being different in how I handle financial strategy, because I find that the majority of financial strategists out there are very bought into the systems of what you should do, and if you don't do this, and here's the fear, and it's like, yeah, I'm living the very real reality of, unfortunately, things not having been in place in my own family that requires a lot of attention from me now, in regards to caring for loved ones. And also I see the beautiful ways that God has provided for you know, my dad and you know, my mom who, you know, passed away, and that whole experience, and it's kind of like that match of like understanding the systems, playing the game when you need to play the game, and also living in the present moment and trusting that you can do everything, and also in that moment trust that you'll be provided for. So put your best foot forward, put your hands in your work, and also know that everything that's meant to come to you will come to you. So you don't have to worry that like, I didn't work enough today.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time today. I'm running out of time. You know, it's like, you just do what you're meant to, and then you will also be provided for, you know.
Yeah. And that feeling of not having enough, that can come prenatally. That can be imprinted prenatally. That can go far.
Yeah.
So if it's something that your body won't naturally let go of, like if you've gone and done some of the things and you're still, it's probably pretty ingrained, and it has to kind of be brought to the surface, understanding that lack of resources. We think about where we are now. 50, 100 years ago, there was people actually starving to death. Right. In terms of, and there still is in our world. But like, these things travel down through generations. Food insecurity.
Yeah. For sure.
Like people trauma, like not trusting certain groups of people, that can travel down through your generation. So really know thyself, like really kind of pulling into understanding that, and then taking action. You have to take action to move it through. Yeah. And one of the things that in the work that I've done is, you know, understanding that God is not out there. God is here. God is everywhere. God is an energy. God is. And continue, just is. Right. And there is no judgment. There is no, it is just is. And what we do with that is a part of what we want to create. And God is not a person that's going to get you out of something, right? But there is that empowerment and love and support and trust to move through something. Right. So a lot of times people say, well, I don't believe in God because I didn't get out of this issue, or I wasn't protected enough, or I wasn't given the resources I didn't need, or like, it's still very external. So that shift to the internal, right? And because of the religious trauma, I had to become that outsider and look at it from a systematic perspective, and versus saying this is a personal issue. This is, a lot of these systems repeat again and again and again. Right.
Well, again, that's why I pride myself in understanding that, and having clients understand that, and also remembering myself that there are systematic issues that have led to certain circumstances, and so that, you know, that self-judgment comes up as well for so many of like, oh, how could I get myself into this situation? And yes, there is self-responsibility, and also there's understanding that, well, this is actually a systematic issue that is, you know, it is helping to keep you stuck, and understanding that allows you to move forward and through that, and taking that self ownership over that. So we have to wrap up. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And again, we are grateful to Discovery Church for hosting our show here, and for putting up with our antics. I actually don't know
my ideas,
who listens to these episodes to verify that we're being okay, but
from a place of non-judgment.
From a place of non-judgment. That's what this is. This show is all about. By the way, not only sharing stories of trials and tribulations, and not even I'm rewording that, but stories of trials and tribulations that shift into passion and purpose. But also, like, you see that this is a just, we come as we are, and we hope to inspire those who listen to just come as you are. You don't have to be perfect. Just move forward and take that time with yourself and with God to feel into what your next steps are, and just, keep moving on. And again, I'm Marta Saray Greca. I am your host, and I am a financial strategist, and I specialize in helping female entrepreneurs to embody their wealthiest self while living in the present moment and also planning for the future. And once again, the show is produced by Whole Truth Communications, which is now a subsidiary of Mission Sierra Media. And if you would like to have robust, qualified leads, and you are a service-based business that that brings in revenue of at least $25,000 a month, upwards to $100K months, and you'd like to add another upwards of $100K per month, we can help you with that with our lead generating strategies at Mission Sierra Media. All right, guys. Make sure that you check out our book, which will be launching October 1st. We think it's possibly being called Completely Wealthy, and you can read more about what Dr. Tanya and I talked about today. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Until next time.